My name is Dale Smith and continue with the classes. Our class today will continue with the two witnesses that we talked about earlier and approximately the timing that the two witnesses could be in the second half of the tribulation. It's possibly the second half. Now there's two 3.5 year periods, 1,260 days twice, a total of 2,520 days. So we're going to get into this, just kind of give us a little bit more detail and when this will take place. Chapter 11, verse 2 in Revelation, and then also Revelation 11, verses 1 and 2. Let's read that. And there was given me a reed like a rod, and the angel stood, saying, Arise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall be tread under foot 42 months. Okay? Now the Jews' reckoning of a month is 30 days to a month. So 12 times 30 is 42. So it'll be 42 months. So it's the same period of time as the time times and a half is 1,260 days. Still, but I feel that the 42 months seems to go more on the second half, where the 1,200, the time times and a half, seems to be go on the first half of the tribulation time. So let's read in here and we'll see what we can come up with. The reed or rod is probably a measuring tool angels use to measure the spiritual condition of its people, the Jews, in the temple. This is the temple referring to the Jews in Jerusalem to build their temple for God. The Gentiles who are not Jews, and some will be left out and not be counted or accepted. Some of these Gentiles will be enemies of Israel. The holy city, Jerusalem, will be destroyed during the 42 months to be trodden underfoot. It is widely considered that if you are not a Jew, then you are a Gentile. Some others are of the house of Israel. Now I'm going to read Revelation chapter 11, verse 3 and 4. And I will give spiritual power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before God of the earth. Also the 1,260 days began during the first half, and the 42 months will take place during the second half. There's still 1,260 days each. That's why these two prophecies are in two different places, because of the timing being the same duration, 1,260 days. In the first half, 42 months, which is 30 times 42, is 1,260 for the second half. But in Daniel chapter 12, verse 7, the 1,260 days will take place during the second half of tribulation. Revelation 13, verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemy, and power was given unto him 42 months. There's that 1,260 days again. And there was given to him, the beast, the false prophet, a mouth speaking great things. Daniel refers to the same incident in Daniel 7, verse 12. And a mouth speaking great things, Daniel 7 and 20. And a mouth that spake very great things, Revelation 17 and 3, full of names of blasphemy. This great mouth is that part of the beast, the head of the lion. It represents the great whore who made war with the saints and prevailed against them. She is the mouthpiece for the beast, the image of the beast. She's the image of the beast. Also as a lamb beast, as we see later in the chapter, the great power, the satanic power, was given unto him to continue 42 months, 1,260 days, 3.5 years. This power from Satan will prevail against the saints for 42 months, Revelation 13. Jewish reckoning for the calendar year of 360 days. In each month, there are 30 days. 30 days times 42 is 1,260 days, or 3.5 years. 1/2 of the 7 years of tribulation. In Revelation 11, verse 2, and it found the duration of 42 months. And the holy city shall be tread under foot 42 months. To discern which 3.5 years periods this 42 months represent will not be hard to do. John and Daniel saw the same period. Daniel says the enemy will prevail against the saints for a time, times, and a dividing of times, which ends up in 1,260 days. We know too in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, that the second 3.5 year period will be worse than the first. Apparently the wrath of God will be pouring out during the second 3.5 year time. Scriptures mention that the saints will be delivered sometime during the end of the 7-year period, Daniel 12, verse 1. We know for sure, though, that it will occur either in the midst of the week or at the end of the last 70th week of Daniel. Whichever the saints will at least go through 1/2 of the tribulation time, 3.5 years, 42 months, 1,260 days. My own observation is that the deliverance will be in the midst of the week, the halfway point. Those who qualify unto God are they who have made preparation by having oil in their lamps, which is taking the Holy Spirit to be their guide. See Matthew 25, verse 1 through 12, and D&C 45, verse 47. This will be determined by our degree of obedience to God, His church, and His kingdom. The second portion, the 70th week, will be when the wrath of God is poured out without measure unto the cup of His indignation. That's Revelation 14:10. And the wicked shall slay the wicked. D&C 63, verse 32 and 33. Then the saints will be delivered in Mount Zion, the only safe place during this time. Satan will rage. Why? Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time left to destroy the earth before he is bound for 1,000 years. It only stands to reason that the saints, God's people, would be protected during the first half, then released to go through the second half with the wicked. The second half is by the wrath of God. The parable of the 10 virgins, Matthew 25, verses 1 through 12, tells us that all the virgins will go through at least the first half until the cry is made and they arose to trim their lamps. The 5 wise who have made ready by making the Holy Spirit to be their guide will go into the marriage supper of the Lamb. See Doctrine and Covenants 47, verse 57 to 58. The 5 foolish virgins who didn't make preparation and to go rather to them to buy and sell for themselves. And while they went, the bridegroom came, and they had made preparations, went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. The 5 foolish virgins who knew not the Lord and were deceived. Also the 5 foolish who went to sell and buy must receive the mark of the beast. This is very important. They had to go buy and sell. Remember, those who labor in Zion shall labor for Zion. If they labor for money, they shall perish. No money in Zion. Is total volunteer help. Our help in Zion, or in Zion, will be volunteer. A testimony of Jesus Christ can come as a drop of oil from time to time into the lamps of our life, so our lives will shine in the firmament. So this is part of that period of time. The 10 virgins will go through that period of time. And I thank you very much. Next time, we will continue about the Lamb Beast. Now, the Lamb Beast is opposed to God's church, and we'll talk about that and more on timing. So, thank you very much today.